I struggle with this because I often get stuck in the belief that I could always do better. I can look back on my performance and say, yeah, I can't say it was my best because I could have done. Let me tell you the problem with believing that we're good enough. This is probably something that you and I have heard from our parents since we were younger, or some of us never heard it at all. But the message, good enough, suggests that we've already done the best that we can. We've already done as much as we possibly could. So my issue with this is that if I tell my son or if I tell myself that anything that I did was good enough, but it was short of excellence, then that takes the standard of performance and lowers it. It drops it down. And a whole generation of parents have done this with our children because we want them to feel good about themselves. We want them to develop a strong self-esteem. The idea is that if we tell them that they're doing a good job, that they're good and they're perfect and they're fully whole as they already are, that they'll feel better about themselves. But there's a consequence to this. If we start telling our children, if we start telling ourselves that what we're doing is good enough, then it doesn't encourage them or motivate them to become better. It tells them that that's the end of the road. That's all I've got to do. And most importantly, if we're having that conversation internally with ourselves, with myself, then I'm giving myself a break. I'm pulling back on what I possibly could achieve, what I possibly could do in terms of performance. And suddenly I'm making good enough okay. The counterpart to this is never accepting our performance. And the result is feeling like we are never good at all, that we're not worthy, that we're unlovable, that we're unacceptable, we're not validated. This goes back to other generations of parenting where it never was enough and children never felt seen, appreciated, loved, heard, listened to. So there's a big spectrum here. There's good enough in giving everyone a participation trophy and letting everybody feel like they're the best thing in the world. And there's the other side of not letting anyone feel like we've done the best that we could. So where's the middle ground? How do we navigate this idea of good enough and letting that go, but still appreciating that we are good? Because I know for me, the internal dialogue is, if someone asks me if I've done my best, I struggle with this because I often get stuck in the belief that I could always do better. I can look back on my performance and say, yeah, I can't say it was my best because I could have done this thing differently. I might have approached this a different way. I might have asked for more help with this particular part. And if I do that for myself, then I'm constantly looking for the next edge, the next way of improving what I did. But that way of being has really been hard for me in my life. It's been connected to a perfectionism that created a lot of unnecessary stress in my life, especially as a younger person, even as an adult. This idea that it's never quite enough made me feel like anything that I did wasn't good, wasn't up to par, wasn't valuable, wasn't worthy of love and acceptance. So I recently realized there's a very simple shift that I can make when I ask myself and have this internal conversation of, did I do a good job? Was it good enough? If I just take off the enough part and I say, am I good? Was I good? Was that a good performance? That's when I start having a conversation around the context of, did I do my best with what I had, with what I know, with what was available to me in that moment? Did I do my best? Because for some reason within me, and I know within a lot of other guys I've had this conversation with, as soon as we introduce the words good enough, immediately there's a voice that says, no, I could have done better. I could have given a little more. I could have thought a little bit harder about it. I could have pushed myself a little bit more. And so the answer always to that question, good enough, is usually no. But when I shift that conversation to, am I good? Did I do good? Do I feel good about how I performed in that particular thing? Sometimes the answer is still going to be no. And that's a good reflection. You know what? I gave 80% when I could have given 100. I called it 100 and I really gave 80 and it wasn't fully up to speed. It's a really good reflection point. But if you can look honestly at yourself at the end of the day and say, you know what? I did my best with what I had, with what I know, with what was available to me. I'm good. And not only that, I'm a good man. I'm a good person. I'm a good human being. I did that work from my heart. I gave everything I had from here. I'm good. It's taken me a long time to say that, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys out there feel the same way. It's hard to admit that we are good because of this feeling of we're never quite enough. But start to look at yourself. Are you doing the best with what you have? Are you doing the best with what's available to you, with what you know right now in this moment? Because we're all going to get better if we keep pushing ourselves. That's why never accepting the standard that we're at right now leaves room for infinite amounts of growth. But celebrating and acknowledging ourselves along the way, taking a moment to say, you know what? I'm a good man. I'm a good man because I try hard. I'm a good man because I do my best with what's available to me. And when I don't give my best, I call myself forward on it and I make sure I make an adjustment for next time. So take a look at yourself. Ask yourself this. Are you good? Are you doing a good job? Are you putting in your best effort in everywhere in your life? And wherever you're not, use that as an opportunity to get really honest. How am I not giving my full 100% of myself to this? Why am I not giving 100% of myself to this? What would it take for me to go to the next level? Think about that and then tell me in the comments. Let's start a conversation about this. Because every single one of us has somewhere in our lives where we could be doing better. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we're still good right now. When our intentions are pure, when we're doing the best that we can, we're good. If you like this episode and everything else we're doing here at the YouTube Rising Man channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now so you get updates each and every week. And go check us out at risingman.org. Peace.
Hi guys, make sure to subscribe. Thanks. Rise up and claim your destiny.